Right, so as some of you may know, I finally beat Bloodborne. Here's a clip. Fuck you! This is it! This is it! I did it. I actually did it. But a lot of people told me I should go check out Vartividia's video on the lore because there's so much to understand. And that's what I'm going to do right now. We're going to check it out and we're going to have a watch of it. And I'm going to finally know why I did all of the stuff that I did. So a couple people sent me this link. There was like a half an hour one, but I don't think anyone wants to watch me watching the half an hour version. We're going to watch this nice little 11-minute version, and it should have all of the same info in there. Because, you know, if I'm going to be stopping and starting and talking, let's just get into it.
Your character arrived in Yharnam from a faraway land, seeking a cure for some unnamed illness. You sign a contract, take blood, and become a hunter of the dream, tasked with ending the spreading scourge of beasts.
Yeah, like that, I was all like, alright, cool, like, you know, I'm the hunter, I'm going out here, I'm cleansing the streets. But then everything, like, even other hunters and stuff started coming after me. That's where I started to get a bit confused, I'll be real with you.
Many hunters before you, your consciousness is now bound to the hunter's dream, and you are able to project yourself into the waking world of Yharnam.
Right, yeah,
At
so
the
I
end
was
of
in the
game,
dream,
the
yeah.
nameless moon presence descends. This is a great one, an elder being that beckoned the hunters and conceived the hunter's dream.
I don't remember fighting this thing.
And you're here now asking why. Well, let me tell you the story up until this point.
Yeah, I don't.
It all began in the tombs below Yharnam. Once,
That ain't the ending I got. That ain't the ending I got, I'll tell you that much.
what we now call Chalice Dungeons contained an entire civilization. It consisted of the Temerians and the Great Ones. The Temerians were a humanoid race, but the Great Ones were far from it. Each Great One is bizarre, unique, and trying to pin down their motivations as a species or individual.
I didn't even see this guy. Look at this guy. Look at him, man. Every time he says the Great One, I keep thinking of The Rock, you know? I can't help it, sorry.
Individually is fairly futile. The only thing that's clear about them is this. The Great Ones, like any other race, want to reproduce, but for them, it's difficult. Each Great One appears to be truly unique, and since that makes mating impossible, they impregnate their subjects instead.
Oh, they're just trying to fuck. Like, I can respect that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can respect that. You could respect that as well. You'd be pissed off too if you couldn't fuck. That makes sense why all the monsters are so mad at you in this game.
The Ring of Betrothal states that in the age of the Great Ones, certain Temerians were permitted to bear a special child. This union was a blood contract, our first reference to the blood of the Great Ones. Most of these births failed, but some didn't.
That's what she was. She was impregnated by a Great One. I remember her. She was impregnated by... It's very alien-esque, isn't it? It's like Alien up in here.
At some point, the Great Ones ascended. We know this because there are multiple references to some Great Ones being left behind.
Oh,
the Great Ones moved on to the Nightmare Realm, and the Temerians were left alone, destined to watch over the physical remains of the slumbering Great Ones.
Okay.
In time, the Temerian civilization fell to the plague of beasts. Perhaps it was something in the blood.
Eventually, so the humanoid people became the werewolf people, and that's why we fight in a lot of them.
Eventually, a group of Byrgenwerth scholars stumbled upon this place, and the events of Bloodborne were set into motion. The scholars discovered the old blood of the Great Ones, a miraculous substance that made their dream of evolution a reality. The school of Byrgenwerth was headed by Master Willem.
This dude, I remember this dude.
Cautious man, Willem desired to ascend to a higher plane of existence, and believed that the knowledge of the Great Ones would lead him there.
He was the guy. Okay, so yeah, I remember going in that church and stuff. Not church, but like the library. No wonder he's just sat out here looking at the moon and stuff. He's trying to ascend mentally. He wanted to be somewhere else. I respect that. I killed him for a moon rune, though. I killed him for a moon rune. It was an easy one.
On the other hand, one of Willem's associates, Lawrence, believed that mankind could ascend through use of the old blood, the blood of the Great Ones. Lawrence seems headstrong and rash, where Willem advised caution. When we
Okay.
inspect the skull after defeating Vicar Amelia, this is the conflict we see.
No, but you will never listen. I tell you, I will not forget our adage.
Oh.
Lawrence tells Willem he will
Oh, okay. Alright, okay. This dude's like, yo, all we gotta do is drink the blood of the Great One and we will become Great Ones ourselves, man. Trust me.
always fear the Old Blood, yet he goes on to found the Healing Church, a faith built upon the miraculous Old Blood. Meanwhile,
Right.
Willem remains behind at Byrgenwerth and decides to pursue alternate methods to ascension.
Yeah, just-
Lawrence and his church were central to the power in Yharnam. Perhaps they even built the place. Blood ministers doled out the miraculous healing blood to the populace, and the city evolved to reflect that. People came
He just out here dealing blood, bro. Just out here, just giving it to the streets like the fucking CIA with crack and shit. What the hell?
from far and wide, just like you did, for the chance to be healed. The Yharnamites whose doors you knock on are quite arrogant and proud, and dislike outsiders.
Yeah, they're pricks, to be
However,
honest.
after the Old Blood was introduced into the populace, people began turning into beasts.
You stop right there. Not an inch closer.
In response,
he was
the church
sick,
founded
okay.
the Hunter's Workshop, with Gehrman at its head. Gehrman's
first
methods
hunter.
defined beast hunting. He abandoned the notion of armor and dressed instead for speed and agility. With
Right.
a firearm in one hand and adaptable melee weapon in the other, the forces of the workshop became the city's primary defense against the beastly threat.
Okay. It's all starting to make sense now. It's all starting to make sense bit by bit. It's all falling into place, man.
Perhaps the workshop was even a secret organization, for item descriptions note that they worked under the cover of night, and
Yes.
the location of the workshop was certainly difficult to find.
Yeah,
In
because you had to
time,
go into
the
the dream.
workshop would be abandoned in favor of the black and white church hunters. Perhaps Gehrman's workshop failed in keeping the scourge a secret. Perhaps the church required a more intimidating approach. Whatever the case, the hunters were fighting for something, and it wasn't just to keep the populace safe. Turns out the Hunter's Workshop was just one of 3 branches of the church.
So there was 3 branches to the church, and they all got their own methods and approaches to doing stuff. I'll keep it real. I did not realize there was so much going on. I should have done more lore exploring.
The others were the choir and
Yes.
Micolash's school of Mensis.
Right.
The choir-
Okay. So they're almost like not warring factions, but like they all got their own way of doing it. This is why they jumped me when they saw that I was a hunter. When they saw that I was one of Gehrman's hunters. They're like, we don't like your type round here, boy.
Existed to continue the work that began at Byrgenwerth, namely the pursuit of insight by way of communion with the Great Ones. The choir's work eventually led them to an audience with Abritus, a left-behind Great One.
Oh, wow. They actually got to
The
speak
School of
to him.
Mensis was, as the name implies, devoted to research and learning. And while item descriptions state that Mensis was allied with the Healing Church, in our adventures it becomes clear that the school is responsible for most of the problems in this world.
Does it? Does it? Was that clear? Was that clear to you guys at home? What was I playing a different game?
In Bloodborne, it's difficult to point to a main antagonist, but if I
Yeah.
had to, I'd point to Micolash, who was the
I mean, to be fair, like, this guy is kind of like the main antagonist. Like, this dude be straight up, like, in your head and just a prick, like, the entire time. I did not like him one bit. If I had to choose anyone I hated the most, it would be him. It would be him.
head of the School of Mensis.
Yeah.
Somehow, Micolash got his hands on the umbilical cord of a Great One. These cords are very important. For
Right.
simplicity's sake, think of these umbilical cords as powerful relics that enable contact with the Great Ones. There are 3 of these umbilical cords
I only got one
in
of them.
game, and they are used by 3 of the main characters.
I only got one of them.
cord was found by Micolash, head of the School of Mensis.
Yeah, I think I
One
got
cord
that
is
one.
held by Willem back in Byrgenwerth, and another cord went to Gehrman of the Hunter's Workshop.
Oh, man.
Micolash used his cord to perform a great ritual. It ripped a lecture hall of Mensis into the nightmare realm,
And that's why they was all sitting around there, dead and that.
so that they could be granted audience with a being named Murgo. It is believed that Murgo is the child of a Great One, birthed through Yharnam, the Tumerian queen. There is little known about his power, his origins, or his significance, so just know for now that Mensis wanted
this Murgo?
audience with Murgo, but that this
Is this thing Murgo? Is that why he was or is he a protector of Murgo? Was Murgo in the baby's cradle? What? I kept hearing a baby the whole time. I was like, why can I hear this baby all the time? Like, ever since I broke the moon and it went red, all I could hear was a baby.
audience came at a great cost. A note in the village reads, "The Mensis ritual must be stopped, lest we all become beasts." Willem used his cord to, and I quote, "elevate his being and thoughts to those of a Great One by lining his brain with eyes." In the lake below him, we come across Rom, the vacuous spider.
Yes.
Many descriptions in-game tell us that this spider hides all manner of rituals. In particular, though, it seems that the spider is holding back the effects of the Mensis ritual. When Rom is gone, a blood moon descends.
He was a good guy and I slaughtered him in front of all of his children.
Blurring the line between beast and man.
Oh no.
After this event, we find the path to Yahar'gul open, so our
Yeah.
character can go through and silence the harrowing cries of Murgo, the infant Great One.
Murgo was the
The
infant
third
Great
umbilical
One.
cord found its way
I straight up killed him too.
into Gehrman's hands. After his hunter's workshop disbanded, Gehrman was alone and unimportant. His only companion was this doll, which he appears to have crafted with love and care. Perhaps this doll's creator had wished for such a friend.
Hey, we all know what that dirty old man was up to. I ain't even got to say it. Crafting dolls for himself to keep himself company. Disgusting, man.
Albeit in vain. His cord reads, "The great ones that inhabit the nightmare are sympathetic in spirit and often answer when called upon." This third cord summoned the moon presence, a great one which beckoned the hunters and conceived the hunter's dream. Gehrman got what he wanted, a companion and a purpose, but he becomes a puppet, endlessly finding and guiding hunters through the dream and out into the world, assumedly under the influences and desires of the moon presence.
I knew he was working against us the whole time. Damn it, man. I'm glad I finally killed him.
So, to recap, Micolash, whose character is ever ambitious to ascend and become a great one, used his cord to establish contact. He sacrificed his school of Mensis and brought the consequences of that contact upon the world. Willem,
wow.
ever cautious, used his cord and Rom to mask the effects of that ritual.
So Willem's not so bad, really, and Rom wasn't that bad either. And I killed both of them. Why did I do that?
And Gehrman, lonely and lacking purpose, became a puppet to another great one named the Moon Presence. He guides hunters through this dream and out into a few select locations. The hunter's dream ends when you successfully hunt down Murgo and his nightmare of Mensis, suggesting that Mensis was the root of the scourge of beasts, and perhaps that the Moon Presence wanted the child of another great one dead. When you
So that was the end game there. When I did that, that really, like, job done. I'd saved the world, kind of.
silence Murgo, you return to the workshop on fire.
Yeah.
The dream's purpose is fulfilled. You
Yeah.
approach Gehrman, host of this hunter's dream, and he tells you that he has the power to free you. If you choose this option, you are unbound from the dream.
Oh, but he
You
sliced your
lived
head
through the
off.
hunt and saw the sunrise over Yharnam.
I could have saw the sunrise.
If you reject Gehrman, the Moon Presence decides it needs another host for its dream. You become captivated by the Moon Presence and pledge to watch over the hunter's dream.
That's what happened to me.
But there is a third option.
What's the third
Ascension.
option?
When the conditions are right for a Great One to be born, the mother and child can be harvested for an umbilical cord. But all Great Ones lose their children and yearn for a surrogate child instead, a replacement.
So
Micolash,
I could have become
Gehrman,
that.
they all found umbilical cords somewhere in the past and used them for their own needs. But ultimately, each of them was unsuccessful in the contact that they had with the Great Ones. However, the notes of the Byrgenwerth scholars contain this information. 3 third cords.
Yes.
Hunt the Great Ones. Hunt the Great Ones.
I could
If
have
you
done
consume 3 cords, you can resist becoming the Moon Presence's captive. Instead, you hunt the Moon Presence, and afterward, you become an infant Great One.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad. I don't want to become an infant one of it. I think I chose the best option. Kind of. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the first option was the best because I could have just escaped and woken up anew, you know. But in this one, I don't want to become a Great One. Like, look at that. I don't want to become that.
Living inside the dream, the Moon Presence conceived. You managed to ascend, as no one else before you did, and you will lift humanity into its next childhood.
I don't. What do you think is the best ending there? I don't know. What do you want to do? Do you want to escape the dream forever? Do you want to become the next Gehrman? I don't like the idea that I killed the puppet to become the puppet. You know, I kind of wanted to kill the puppet to kill the puppet master. Oh man. This story's, no matter which way you chop it, you're kind of like the bad guy. There's no real fun ending. There's no like, congrats, you did it, you saved the world kind of stuff. It's just, unless if you become a Great One. Hang on, let me just pull this up for. Let's just, because I'm doing this on the computer, this part. Unless you become like a Great One, and then you can decide how the world goes, then I don't really see what the best. I think the best option is the one I did, like, because technically I killed Micolash, I killed Willem, and I killed Gehrman, so I got rid of all of them, you know. But then I became him. Man, I don't know. I really don't know. In a weird way, the law's left me with more questions than when I finished the game. Yeah. We need a Bloodborne 2, man. This story needs to. There needs to be. There's surely more than this. There's surely more to this than that. There's got to be. That's good. There's got to be more than this. You know. They did 3 Dark Souls games. You can do a Bloodborne 2. Come on, come on, come on. Let's fight against all of the Great Ones and change the world. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what the best outcome is here. I kind of ruined the third ending for me, but I don't think I would have liked it. I don't think I wanted to become a Great One. Well, there we go. The more you know. Now I know the story of Bloodborne, and it's sad, man. Seems like humanity's been tricked completely, all because of a few people. Actually, that's quite a good metaphor. That's quite a good metaphor. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Just a quick little video to start off with Monday, and finally sort of bring an end to the Bloodborne chapter of this channel. I'll be moving into some other FromSoftware games as we go out through the rest of the year and stuff, but I need a little break from it. But it was good to get some sort of clarity, you know. I like a lot that there's this sort of like feeling to these games where it's like, no matter what you do, like the same with like Demon Souls, like you kind of just are the bad guy. Like there's no real good guys in these stories, which is kind of cool. And like I said to my friend recently, what's cool about that is a lot of the time in these games, you become your own worst enemy anyway. The more tilted you get, the more that you forget what you've learnt and so on and so forth. You were the biggest thing holding you back from moving to the next part and progressing. So it's kind of cool that these games seem to end and go, well, you were the bad guy all along, you know. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. I will be back tomorrow with a new video. Not streaming as much this month. We're going into uploads. We're doing new things. We're doing new things. It's a new year. There's new things. Take it easy. Take care of yourselves. Look out for each other. Peace.